What's up, bikers? I'm Robert, and this is the Biker Bar Podcast live stream, episode 109. I'm pretty impressed by that, actually. 109 episodes. That's crazy. Here we are. Today, we're going to have Evan's MTB Saga. If you haven't heard of his channel, you should probably check it out. But if you haven't heard of it, and you're about to get a good introduction to who he is and what he's doing over there. But before all of that, I want to say thank you to everybody that's on Patreon right now. I appreciate all you guys. Honestly, it means so much to me that you guys help me out with this every month. And those of you guys that are interested in helping me out as well, it could cost you $1. That's it. Like I say this over and over again, but it's like the best way to explain it. You get a bar, a bar. You get a beer at the bar. You give the guy $1, man. You're like, oh yeah, right on. Thanks for that. All he did was like walk over, pour it, and bring it back to you. Here I am, 2 hours of content every week. Seriously, throw $1 at me, man. No big deal there. Or you could also go ahead and sign up on, there's some other levels on Patreon. There's a $5 tier. You'll get a handwritten letter, some sticker pack, and a $25, I don't even remember. There's another tier that's higher than that if you really want to like put some beer in the fridge and help me buy some bike parts, maybe replace a camera that I lose or gets broken, something like that. I would really appreciate it. If you want to do something that helps me out for free, hit subscribe or thumbs up. Or if you're an Apple Podcast listener, rate a review, a 5-star review. That would be awesome. Outside of that, here we are. It's Sunday. It's 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Let's bring Evan back on. Let's talk to this guy. Almost hit the wrong button. Just dumped him off the stream. How's it going, Evan?
Hey, what's up?
Good. Dude, I'm assuming your name is actually Evan. I didn't even ask you that ahead of time.
Yep, it is Evan.
That would be weird if it wasn't. I'm like, hey, you're like,
I thought about it. I thought about using a different name at one point, but my actual first name is Scott.
Oh, you're a middle name user.
Should I use Scott? But no.
So do you use your like, is your whole life your middle name, or is like just for this you use your middle name?
From birth. I don't know why my mom went with Evan. She was always going to call me Evan and then put it as Scott for some reason. I don't know why.
I can highly relate with you because my middle name is actually Robert. So I'm one of those guys that like, I don't know about you, but because you use your middle name the whole way through your life, like you call your like medical insurance or something, they're like, what's your name? And you're like, well, it's Evan, but you might know me as Scott or S Evan, or, like, oh, it's ridiculous, man. Like people are like, you actually don't know who you are, or like, yeah, you don't have that problem?
Oh yeah, it's totally weird. I'm like, Scott, and they're like when you go to buy a house, they make you sign your whole name. And it's like, I've never even written out Scott before. So I looked into changing my name at one point, but it cost literally $300 to do it. So I was like, no way. Yeah. I was going to choose a middle name. My middle name was going to be Spartacus.
Oh, there you go.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it sounds good to me, man. Believe me, I've done a lot of stupid things in my life, so my middle name of Spartacus probably sounds good. I thought about changing mine so it was like legally, like, because my first name's Harold. That was like my grandfather's name. I'm the third too, so I don't know. Are you got a number 2 or no?
No.
yeah. My dad really like just was like, fuck this guy, dude. So it was like, my grandfather was always, went by Harold. My dad went by Bob, or basically Bob. And I grew up as Robbie, and I didn't know that when I got to be an adult that I didn't want to be Robbie, until I was like in my 30s and my cousin still calls me Robbie. I'm like, no, stop, please. Can you please stop?
That's good.
Yeah. So you're located in Phoenix, Arizona?
Yep, I'm in Phoenix. Been here for the last 6 years. I don't even know. I don't know anymore.
Yeah. What do you do? What's got you like? Why are you in Phoenix?
Well, I originally moved out here from a little bit south of Sacramento because I was in a full-fledged like BMX race mode. So I was racing nationally, and I lived like 80 miles from the nearest track, which is Roseville, California. And then the commute was just getting a little bit long for me. And I'm like, oh, I could move to Sacramento, but if I'm going to move, why not just move where I want to move, which was Phoenix, because I lived here for college. And there's a bunch of BMX tracks around here. The weather's fantastic. And I kind of like the heat. I don't know about everybody else, but
yeah.
So I moved out here for BMX, and then, you know, I had got a job. The job actually paid for my transfer. So that was really nice.
Oh, that's rad. So you still ride BMX or?
Nope. I quit doing that. Let's see, 2018, I quit doing that. And then I was kind of, wandering in the wilderness for a couple of years, deciding what to do. And now I just stumbled upon mountain biking.
So how'd you stumble on that?
Well, I got a friend, I call him Mr. Dentist, and he rides like $6,000 bikes, which is just ridiculous sounding to me. So he's like, yeah, man, get this YT. It's only $3,200. I'm like, dude, I don't even $3,200 for a sport that I've never even tried. Like, yeah, right, dude. That's a huge commitment.
Yeah.
So that was probably like 2018 or 19. Every year tax return time, I was looking at, oh, can I afford this bike? Should I do it? And I never did it. Never got around to it. And then the Schwinn Axum came out. Did you hear about that bike?
I actually watched this video that you talked about this earlier today.
Oh yeah. Well, a lot of big guys like Trail Features and MTV Savant, they released a video on that. And I remember being like, whoa, dude, they talked the bike up a lot. It actually wasn't really that good, but it was nice to get on the trail, you know, but it needed a ton of upgrades to like be good. So I saw that, and I was like, all right, $500 to start mountain biking. Like, I'm in. So I bought the bike. And then at the same time, I was like, well, dude, those guys made great YouTube videos. So I want to make YouTube videos. So YouTube and mountain biking started the same time for me.
That's crazy. It's also crazy to me. Like, I've just been riding bikes for a long time. So to think about like buying a $500 mountain bike to get into the sport, it hurts my brain. You know what I mean? Like, it's just me. And I think that's really rad. That's really rad that's how you came about it. Because I mean, at the end of the day, like the slogan of my channel is, it only takes a bike to be a biker. And I really meant that when I first started the channel. Is like, it doesn't matter what you ride, because I've been out on the trail and been dusted by a guy that has like, you know, 20-year-old bike that's fully rigid, and just, you know, he's wearing jeans and sneakers, and you're, oh shit, you judge the dude, and next thing you know, he's like waxing you all day, you know. So it doesn't really matter. And whatever gets you out there, you know, and you like you're living it, you know. So
yeah, absolutely. Man, the barrier to entry is just so high. So that's why I say a lot to people, especially in the comments, like, the more people we can get on the trail, the better. Because people are like, oh, that bike's a piece of crap. I said, hey, the more people out there, the better for us, the better the trails get. Yeah. Because, man, my trails out here like suffer from a really bad problem where just not a lot of people ride. So the surface doesn't get hard packed. It just gets sandy and rocky, and then it's just like crap. So we want more people out here.
So I ride like annually in Phoenix. Basically every time I go to Sedona Mountain Bike Festival, I stop in Phoenix first, like, and we'll do a ride there in South Mountain. Where else is there to ride around there? So I mean, South Mountain's pretty friggin' rad, but I know there's a bunch of other stuff around as well, right?
Well, so South Mountain's in just central Phoenix, right? Well, central Phoenix. So pretty much the center point, really close to downtown. So I live in West Phoenix, probably 30 minutes from there. And there's a lot of like XC trails, and it's not that great. So you think of South Mountain like, whoa, this is such a great place to ride. But all my local trails are like, And I rode South Mountain once before too, and I don't know, I haven't really gone back since. I just explored one of them called Haas. It's in East Mesa. And
I've heard about Haas a bunch.
Whoa. Yeah, I want to go back there like immediately. After I rode that,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, after I rode that, we went down like a double black diamond with one of my budget bikes, and I'm like, dude, I want to start upgrading my bike so I can hit this even harder. and then I plan on going back in like a week or two.
That's interesting. I need to get. I was told that Halls is like super, more like flowy and kind of XC kind of ish than South Mountain. So I've actually never ridden there, but I keep hearing people bring up that name.
Oh
So
yeah, in the last year, their trail alliance has been just like slaving away, and there's like a new double black, a new black diamond. There's all these new trails that popped up in the last year.
so why is it? What didn't you like about South Mountain? Like,
Um, I don't. I think it was just the climb to get to the top.
yeah,
Because I went up like National and Mormon,
yeah,
and man, it just took forever to get to the top like parking lot there. Maybe if I was shuttling, I don't know. I don't know. It seemed like there was segments, but they didn't really flow well together. So
uh-huh.
I don't know. For like a 35-minute drive out there, just I don't know. I can have almost just as much as fun with a 10-minute drive. So
Yeah.
I just stick to that usually.
Yeah, no, I can understand that. It's definitely a climb from the lower spot to get up to like where the antennas and stuff like that are. But the first time I ever rode there, the guy I was riding with, the Tim. He's from he's worked with Spartan Rise. He does the oh shoot, I'm drawing a blank on the Trail Monos, the gloves. Have you heard of them?
No, but I saw that video that you're talking about though.
Yeah. And so anyways, he showed me around there like years ago, and the first ride that I was with him, he said to me, "This place defies like physics." And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, "It doesn't matter which way you're going, you're always climbing." And we were
Yeah.
climbing, and I was like, "This guy, he's funny," And then we started descending, and we were climbing again, and oh my God, he's right. And it's funny
Yeah.
because when I go back and I ride Sedona and Phoenix every year, the joke is always that you're climbing down when you're in Arizona. You're always climbing down.
Yeah. Well, I saw your video where you took a digger on waterfall pretty recently.
Oh
Are you all
yeah,
healed up from that?
yeah. The scab's finally gone. Oh
Wow.
man, that was a shitty situation, to tell you the truth.
So was the story that they wouldn't do stitches on you because you had a little bit of alcohol in your system?
No, the story was that I wouldn't do stitches on me because I had a little alcohol in me,
Oh,
basically. So I took the digger. I knew when I saw it initially, my mindset was, yeah, this needs stitches. And then we were going to keep doing a ride because we weren't even that's not all the way at the top yet. So I was thinking in my head, okay, we're going to keep climbing, then we'll do whatever we're going to do. And then my buddy Moonlight Leatherfoot, I think it might be in that video as well. He like ate shit on it as well. And then at that point, Tim was like, really? This is how this ride's going. Let's just go back. Like, here's your sign. You know what I mean? And so we head back to the parking lot. And when we got back there, Tim told me, he said, "Oh, I can do stitches. I got this med kit. You want me to do some stitches?" And I was thinking in my
nice.
head, I was like, "Oh, sweet, right on. Let's do this." Right. So we're sitting there on the truck, and he's cleaning it off. I'm drinking beer, and as he's cleaning it off, you can see in his eyes, he was like, maybe I'm a little outclassed right now. I'm not sure if I should actually be doing these stitches.
Oh,
And this
wow.
lady and her boyfriend walked up. They were parked behind us, and he's like, "You wouldn't happen to be a nurse, would you?" And she looks up. She's like, "Actually, I am, but OBGYN." And he says, "Okay, well, that's probably not going to help. But if you know how to do stitches," she's like, "I'm not going to do this." So at this point, he says to me, "I don't know if I give you stitches right now, I'm going to mess it up because the way that it's on the knee, it's going to bend a lot. The way like that skin's not super thick there, and he said, if I do the stitches, this could be worse for you in the long run. So maybe let's just throw
Mm.
some like butterfly, like Band-Aid stitches on it and some second skin. I can't remember what that stuff's called. It's like a new skin, I think it's called. It looks like a skin sticker. And he's like, maybe that'll be good. And after 2 IPAs, I agreed with him. And I was like, this will be fine. And then about halfway driving to Sedona that night, that thing just filled up like a huge blood blister and was just dumping blood down my shin on the way to Sedona. I think beer also doesn't help for like coagulating your blood. So,
oh, wow.
And I knew at that point, I was like, now I've had like a handful of beer. I don't want to go into the med station and be like, hey! you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I figured, I'll just get up in the morning and go in. And I thought that as long as you were in there within 12 hours, like they could still do stitches. But apparently it's like 6. So I showed up in like 13 hours thinking, maybe it'll happen. But instead I just ended up paying. Dude, insurance sucks. I think it cost me like $700 to go to the urgent care. And basically all they did was tell me they couldn't do anything. Oh, you guys did a great job cleaning it. Here, let me put some more of these fake stitches on, like the little Band-Aid stitches. And I think they gave me a tetanus shot too. And then $7 later, oh, great. This is awesome. So that's the long story.
Well, when is the Sedona Mountain Bike Festival again? Because I went this last time, but I went as a, I guess, YouTube content creator. I had my camera and I did not bring my bike at all. So I met a couple of YouTubers. I didn't see you there though.
Who did you meet up with?
Well, I just went with my wife and kids, and then I met Old Shovel, and then I met Hardtail Party, and that was about it. I was just there for Saturday because I just drove up and then drove back down home the same day.
Yeah. Hardtail Party's a really good dude. Have you met his wife, Tess, too?
No, I saw her there. She was talking to him, but not really.
Those two are some of my favorite people that I've met through YouTube. Super genuine. Both Steve and Tess are like really cool people. Yeah, no, I was there. I was there the whole time. We did a lot of riding. This like more riding this year than, or at least the way the times of the riding were lined up. We weren't at the fest as much as I normally am. You know what I mean? So it was like normally we'll get back to the fest at, I don't know, normally we'll be there maybe for a little bit in the morning, then we'll go ride, and then we'll get back at 3 or 4 and then hang out and drink beers with everybody. And it seemed like every time that we were getting back, the fest was already over, or at one point the one day we got back and immediately left for a night ride that was like a group ride with Trail Manos, the glove company I was just talking about. And it just I wasn't at the fest a whole lot. But that is like, was that your first time?
Yeah, that was my first time.
So much fun. Did you enjoy it?
It was pretty cool seeing all the vendors and stuff, but this next time around, I'm definitely bringing my bike and maybe even getting a room or something, staying for a couple days. Because man, those trails look pretty good. I've never rode Sedona, but just like BKXC's videos, like, man, make it look so much fun.
You're so close.
I know, man.
You haven't gone down there. I mean, you're only 2 hours away.
I've not explored Arizona like at all, and I feel pretty guilty about it. I want to do stuff like that, but I got 2 young babies and stuff. It's kind of hard making time like that.
Yeah, no.
So
I saw that on one of your videos. You were talking about you have a young family, and I can relate, man. When my kids were young, it was really hard, and you just feel like you're kind of just like leaving your wife, to take care of the kids, and you're going out to have fun, and you feel, I don't know, at least me, I like felt a little guilty for going, but at the same time, you need your time to do your thing, so I can totally understand.
Yeah, sometimes I get kind of stressed out because like I prioritize making YouTube videos over riding, so sometimes I won't ride at all besides just grabbing some trail footage and then coming right back home to edit. But the other day, I actually decided I'm making a video trying to like train for 30 days, like a Paul the Punter style video. Like, I'm training 30 days to win this XC race, which is actually the premise of the video. So I've been riding a little bit more, and man, getting that mental clarity on the trail is just like, oh, I needed this. So
Yeah.
I feel a little guilty, but I told my wife, like, oh man, I really do enjoy that time out there.
Yeah. I call it single track therapy, you know?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, really, like, it just helps to keep my head straight, you know, and I can tell whenever I'm not riding or I'm not doing something physical, you know what I mean? Whether it's going out and hiking or skiing or, you know, wakeboarding or whatever it is. When I don't get out and do those things, I just start kind of I don't go in a good spot, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Just that.
so your channel,
Yeah.
how would you explain it?
So I would say I get budget bikes and I upgrade them. But lately I've been trying to make like a fun story about it and just make it like good, entertaining content. So what some people would call it be edutainment. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever heard something like that before. So
No,
it's kind of
that's good though. I get what
educational.
you're saying.
I do kind of like say this is how you do something or say this is a better way to do something, but it's not how to at all, but it's also entertainment. So I try to make it like a really good time. So yeah, I just do like entry level, affordable style mountain biking. That way to just kind of show you like, hey, you can have a really good bike without just dropping $6,000 on a stock bike, you know?
Mm-hmm. What do you think that you learned from that first purchase, that $500 purchase?
Oh man. Well, it took me a couple more purchases of Walmart bikes, but I've learned to don't buy Walmart bikes anymore.
So
Man.
you're in the band camp of Walmart bikes aren't a good way to start mountain biking?
Well, that's kind of what I'm getting at. I just had a video with a Polygon that cost $900, so it's still kind of in that entry level category, and it's such a better way to go because you're not getting frustrated at the chain falling off every 5 feet and just bunch of junk on the Walmart bike. At least this like Polygon, you have like, oh, the drivetrain, I don't have to mess with that like ever if I don't want to. And little things you could upgrade like the tires or the seat or something. That's no big deal. But with the Schwinn Axum, man, you got to upgrade everything to make that bike good.
Yeah. I always tell people, if you want to get into the sport, spend $1,000. Now, whether you spend $1,000 to get a new bike or you spend $1,000 to buy a used bike, I feel like your $1,000 on your used bike is going to get you further. But as somebody who maybe doesn't have a friend that knows, you know, bikes well, that's a lot of money to give somebody on something that you don't know about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can understand why people buy new still. But I mean, how do you feel about the used market?
Oh, the used market. I've tried to scour some deals, but it's tough. It's really tough right now. And a lot of people are just like getting a bike, cleaning it up, and trying to charge $1,000 for a $400 used bike. But I did find I made a bunch of videos on it at 2002 S-Works, and that has been a really fun project so far. And I got that one for $300, and man, it is a crazy deal. So I'm working on it right now. The final episode 4, where I'm just putting a whole bunch of modern parts on it, and we'll see if it works out.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you my opinion on that, whether you like it or not. For a long time, when I first got, right around the time that I started the channel, actually, I had at that point, it would have been a 2006 Cannondale full suspension bike. And when I started the channel, it was probably about 2017. And I didn't believe that the newer geometry bikes actually, I didn't really know that it made a difference. So I thought if I just threw all these new parts on that bike would be just the same. And at the end of the day, I spent a lot of money upgrading that bike, that if I would have just bought a new bike, even if I would have bought like the bottom of the line new bike, it would have been better than that one. So I'm curious to see how it plays out for you.
Yeah, it definitely will be a little bit different, and it's pretty much like an XC race bike. So I'm trying to keep that in the back of my head. Like I'm not going to be bombing down stuff. I'll just ride it as XC, just kind of get some good exercise, basically.
Yeah. Even the bike that I had was geared, like, for its time, it was kind of ahead of the game. You know, it had a 67-degree head tube angle, But it's just weird. I mean, they move a bolt by a millimeter or 1 degree on this or 1 degree on that, and next thing you know, the bike is just phenomenally different. And I've definitely come to figure out that I'm not as good as the bike engineers are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, who knows? Maybe I'm just lousy at choosing parts or something, but that's at least been my experience. So you've done a few different bikes on your channel. I was watching your little synopsis of what you've gone through. I think you said you've had like 6 or 7 different bikes that you've gone through.
Oh yeah, I've done 3 more since then. Yeah, each one I get and I make several upgrade videos on. And yeah, I just found that people like to watch, the work being done on the bike. That people really stick around for that. So, and basically that goes back to like Seth. He was doing bike upgrade videos, before I started, and I was like, yeah, I really like this, and he does a really good job, obviously.
Yeah.
So I was like, I want to do that too. And then there's another channel. Have you seen that channel called Dream Builds? He
No,
has
I
like,
haven't. I'll have to check it out.
yeah, he has videos where he just like builds bikes, no words at all. It just kind of like, I mean, it was cool like 3 years ago, but the music is like for 20 minutes straight. And I like seeing the bike work, but man, I want to talk a little bit too. I don't want angels singing, while I'm building the bike. So yeah, I took influences from both those, and yeah, trying to do it too.
That's fun, man. Out of the bikes that you've looked at in that budget range, what really stands out to you?
Well, you have to differentiate between hardtail and full suspension. So when I met Hardtail Party, I joked around. I said, man, I should name my channel Full Suspension Party or something.
Yeah.
I just don't like hardtails anymore, man. Getting older. What can I say?
Yeah.
But
the BMX guy saying that too. What the hell?
Yeah. I'm not going, man. I got on my 20-inch not long ago, and I'm like, what the hell? How did I even ride this thing? The front wheel's like behind my butt, basically. Yeah, so no more 20-inch wheels. Like I'll go 26 dirt jumper, and that's about it. But yeah, so I've done the 2 budget hardtail or full suspensions. I mean, Vitus Mythic and the Polygon Siskiyou D7, and the Polygon, they gave the bike to me for free. I don't want to be like a sellout, but that bike, I just got on it and I was like, dude, this thing is awesome. The Vitus was pretty good, but just something about my trails, I don't need 140 millimeters travel. So that was the big thing. I just don't.
That's because you're not riding South Mountain, dude.
Well, I took that bike on South Mountain, and it was fine. But like I said, there's this like smooth sections linked to the hard sections, and I don't know. And like I watch you guys do these rock gardens where you try to like crawl up it and go over it. I just don't have like desire to do that. I don't know why. Like I'll ride over it, but I'm not like I don't feel like I want to like turn back around and do it again.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just a weirdo, I guess.
No, you don't have that stupid gene in your body, dude. That's what it is.
Yeah, I hate bashing cranks into rocks, man. It's the worst. And then what about when you're going up a rock garden and then you're like pause and you have to put your foot down? You like miss your foot and then all of a sudden you're flying. Oh, that's the worst.
That's so funny. I feel like it's because you're still new into mountain biking. That's my like my take on what you're saying right there. I feel like the more that you do it, you start to look for different challenges. Like, so, let's just say you ride your local trail. For the first 5 years, you could do that same trail every Friday night and be stoked about it. And then come like 6 or 7 years, you're like, man, maybe I should do it backwards. Or maybe I should do it at night. Or, you start doing things differently. Or you're like, why do I always walk around this rock garden? Like, did I ever try? There was actually a spot on a trail I was on today that I thought to myself, I always walk up this section, but I don't know if I've actually legitimately ever tried. Like I could possibly just ride up this thing. I don't even know, And I think that's what it comes down to. I don't know. It's just maybe, I mean, I can understand what you're saying. Because
for me, the biggest challenge for mountain biking, just because I come from BMX, it's a sprinting sport, anaerobic only. I have no aerobic capacity at all. Like, I literally can't do it. Or at least when I started, I could ride like 5 minutes and then I had to stop. So that's the big challenge for me right now is, I'm kind of an XC guy, man.
Yeah.
I love that. And I want to be able to, I entered a race today. I started the race and I snapped my chain.
No, right at the beginning?
10 minutes in, but luckily it was right on a service road, so I could go back and it was all downhill from there.
Yeah.
But just the fitness challenge to switch over from sprinting to that, that's the big thing for me right now.
It's interesting to me because I come from a BMX background, but I didn't BMX race, what you're talking about. So I did more kind of like street BMX, where we would ride around town and do, I guess, the equivalent of dirt jumps or like jump down staircases or, just do stupid, sketchy shit all day. Like, I don't know, just dumb stuff, like ride around town, do kickouts on all the garbage cans and stuff like that, So
we had that when I was growing up. There was a nursing home and it had like a cool little bank and a curb and we called it the Granny Gap.
Yeah, there you go. So like for me, like BMX, we would ride all day and it would be like you ride all to the other side of town to go do the Granny Gap, or you would ride to the other part, a couple miles away to go do this spot where you could jump over this alleyway because it was a nice little dirt jump there, or you would go zip through these people's backyards and hit this little dirt trail that popped you out onto the street, or something like that. So we were kind of unknowingly like endurance riding, you know what I mean? But just to go from feature to feature. And so I think whenever I got introduced to mountain biking, it was pretty like it was almost similar to me, because where I grew up, there's a lot of little dirt trails that kind of go through the woods to get you to the next part of town or whatever. And they don't really have that out here in California where I live now. And I think so. Whenever I went to mountain bike, I was like, yeah, dude, you just ride on the dirt. You go over there, you just, hit these jumps or whatever. So that's interesting. It's really interesting to see how it's different for different people,
Oh yeah, for sure. I used to live in Northern California. I told you that off stream.
Yeah.
So I used to live like 80 miles south of Roseville, Napa, and all that.
Yeah.
So I was BMXing on the national scene pretty hardcore, and I'm getting older. I was probably 25, and the division I was racing is 19 to 27 expert. And I'm like, man, I'm towards the end. Like, I'm racing all these young guys. Like, they're fearless. They'll take you out. It kind of sucks.
Yeah.
So I was like, why don't I capitalize on my youth and start mountain biking? But where I lived in the Central Valley, it's so flat. Like where I live specifically, there was just flatness. There's no trails at all. So the closest trail I could go to was like in Tracy or Livermore, in those hills. But that was like 45 minutes, and I don't know. I just never got around to it. And people were riding North Star and stuff. I don't even know if that's a thing.
Yeah, but that's quite a trek from where you were.
Yeah. So just the cost of the bike and driving all that way, I ultimately didn't do it, and I just stuck with BMX. And man, I stuck around BMX just way too long. I'm really lucky I didn't get injured.
So why don't you do any kind of BMX content on your channel? I mean, you have that background.
Well, so YouTube is a tricky game, right? So they always say to niche down, niche meaning like you choose your category of videos and you just kind of stick with it. Like for the B1, biker channel, you're kind of doing like product reviews and stuff mixed in with like a little bit of vlogs, which, man, I love the vlogs. They're awesome. Yeah, especially the weight loss challenge. And then I can't believe you climbed that much, 300,000 feet in a year.
Thank you.
I checked mine. I think I did like 30,000. So, wait, what was the question? Sorry.
I don't even remember. What did I say?
About
Maybe
YouTube.
maybe some of the content. Oh, I asked you why you didn't do BMX content.
Oh, that's right. So, yeah, YouTube wants like specific niches, and if you wander around too much, it people like the audience wants like what they want. So if you're like doing a GoPro footage here, and then a bike review here, and then I don't know, setting up a headlight for your bike over here, people will click one, but not the other two. So YouTube will count that against you. So I just very early on, people just like the building of the mountain bikes, because originally when I started, I wanted to upgrade the Axum and kind of show how it made me faster, and I would include that at the end of the video, and people would click off because you can see where people click off.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, people don't really care about me; they care about the bike. So I just rolled with that for a while, and over time, I've been trying to, be on camera more, show my face more, and hopefully eventually they'll care about me. You know how like with Seth, he'll do a video about a dog omelet or avocado toast, and like, dude, 300,000 people watch still.
Yeah.
So I would like to make it so people are liking my personality rather than just the bike. And then maybe I'll sprinkle in some BMX content.
Yeah.
And like my closest like affiliate partnership, Bikes Online and Polygon, they have a BMX bike, but they just discontinued it. And it was a really good BMX bike. I'm like, dang it. I would have made a video on it, but yeah, they
I want to talk to you about Polygon. Actually, I'm glad you brought that up. First of all, when you mentioned that a couple of minutes ago, every time that I talk to somebody that's in the budget range of getting a bike, the ones that have the Polygon are really happy. It seems like that is currently one of the best bangs for your buck as far as bikes go in that range. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How did they reach out to you? Did you reach out to them or?
Well, they reach out to me, and it's funny. The marketing guy for Bikes Online, he has a channel called Trail Talk MTB, and he's made a bunch of like bike review videos and like best 10 bikes under $1,000. So I knew about him already. So I get on the Zoom call, and I'm like, dude, it's you.
Yeah.
So yeah, so he reached out to me just as like a fellow YouTube fan, I guess, because he has his own YouTube channel, and hooked up. It took a little while with shipping and everything because I was in the summer, COVID and everything.
Yeah.
The biggest thing about Polygon compared to like the Vitus Mythic that I got, when I received the Polygon, like the build quality is just so much higher. Like you see it and you're just like, whoa, dude, like this is amazing. Like gloss paint mixed with matte paint and really nice welds and lines. And I text Phil and I said, dude, the website does not show like how good of like a build quality this is. Like you guys got to change that. But they deal with like Indonesia and stuff. So yeah,
I think, and I felt the same thing when I met somebody in person that had one. They had told me, oh, I got this Polygon bike, and in my mind I was kind of like, oh, all right, well, it's a budget bike, that's cool. And then when I looked at it, I was actually surprised by how well it looked, and also how well it rides. But I mean, there's the other guy, what's his name, up in Idaho, northern Idaho. He's got the Shreddist. He rides with the Polygon bike as well, and that guy can rip, man. So once again, like I said at the beginning, it only takes a bike to be a biker. Like, don't judge it's the talent that you have, and that bike seems to be really priced well, all of their models, for the components that you get. And it's like it's set up to, oh, you can upgrade this, or it's not some weird crank set or something. You can actually change the chain ring, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that's like the whole premise of my channel, just like, oh, get this bike and just upgrade a little thing here and there. But lately I've been getting the itch to get some nice parts of my bike. So I bought that Fox 34, and then I went back to like just test riding one of the budget bikes. And I'm like, oh no, what have I done? I should have got the expensive fork. I can never go back.
You tasted the heroin, huh?
Yep, I can never go back.
It's funny when you ride that. Like, I always make this joke about brakes. You never know you have shitty brakes until you try better ones. And I feel like it's similar with mountain bikes. You really don't know what you're missing. And then And it's very easy to be, oh, that's just like the marketing guy is trying to sell you on some bullshit. You know, you don't need to spend that much money. And I think there is a certain point at which that scale tips, and yeah, you're just spending money to get lighter or whatever's new. But there is definitely a point that you're getting what you pay for, you know?
Yeah, my next breaks I'm trying to get are those Trick Stuff Maxima. Have you heard of those?
No, I haven't.
Oh, they are $1,500 and they have an 18-month wait list.
Oh, wow.
I can't believe you haven't heard of them.
No.
Yeah, they're like handcrafted German brakes, man. They're awesome.
Oh, that sounds rad. I'm probably not a great YouTuber in the sense of I'm such a brand loyalist. If I try something and I like it, I'm like, I don't need to try anything else. I don't even care. Everything else sucks. You know? So I'm on the Shimano bandwagon. I ride Saints right now, and I have a bunch of friends that use other brakes that are in a similar space, and I just can't bring myself to try anything, because it's one of those things like when I go to a restaurant for the first time, it's a very important decision would I order, because more than likely the first thing that I ever order on that menu is probably the only thing I'm ever going to order at that restaurant for the rest of my life. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's funny because like I'll go to a restaurant, say a local restaurant, and I want to try everything on the menu at least once.
Yeah. I'm so not that guy. So with the bike parts, it's similar. You know, I'm like, hey, this brake works. I'm really stoked with it. I don't want to try anything else. And usually whenever I find out something else is really good, it's because I was forced into that situation. Like, I went in to buy the tire that I wanted, and because I couldn't get anything else, this is what I ended up with. And wow, I actually like this one. You know, like that kind of situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm probably,
for me, like I don't care, because like your channel slogan, like it's just a bike, and at the end of the day, a bike is a tool that we use, and then it becomes like an extension of your body. So when you're riding, you're looking at the trail. You're not looking at your bike ever. Like it doesn't matter what brand or bike, to me at least. As long as it works, that's all.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like at the end of the day, I just want people to go out and ride. So I don't really give a shit what you're riding, or, you know, I actually have a friend that has a Walmart bike that he upgraded the hell out of, despite me telling him not to do that. But he goes out and he rides, so he has a good time, you know. And then later on down the road, he wanted to upgrade and he bought some like Chinese frame bike, you know, and that's his thing, you know. He's not gonna spend a lot of money, but he's still having fun. And I mean, the bike he has now, it's pretty rad, you know. And he definitely didn't spend, you know, Santa Cruz money on it. So
yeah. Before I started mountain biking, one of the early on mountain bike YouTube videos I saw was your video with the Chameleon.
Oh, and,
nice. Didn't you put like custom stickers on it or something like that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Now I remember. And I remember being like, man, I looked it up and it's like, oh, wow, that's really, really expensive. So I was like, well, and I think that was like a March kind of, wasn't that during COVID? Like early on COVID?
It depends on, I bought two of those. So it depends. You're probably talking about the carbon one then. So it would have probably been right around the beginning of COVID, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. So that was like in March, April, because I wanted to start then. And then I was like, oh, no, that's dead end. So it wasn't until May where I found the Axum. And then by July, I had the Axum. I started.
You know, I wanted to talk to you about that. I heard that on your one video. Like you were actually watching mountain bike YouTube content and you weren't a mountain biker. And I always wonder about, because I have people that comment to me and they're like, oh, I was watching your stuff for a while and you got me into mountain biking. How did you, like, was it just because you were interested in, like, what was the reason you're watching that content?
Well, the first mountain bike video that I watched was Seth taking his BMX bike on a mountain bike trail.
Yeah.
So there's the bridge right there.
Right.
BMX
You're
bike
like,
on a mountain bike trail. And then I'm like, this guy is actually pretty funny. And then he took a digger, face planted on the trail. It was hilarious. But I was like thinking, oh, I want to go. Oh dang, look at Charlie Hicks over here.
See, you're not supposed to do that. I told you ahead of time. Don't be a Paul the Punter.
Big orange thing over there. Yeah. So I was thinking like, yeah, I want to go ride my BMX bike, just gathering dust on a trail. But yeah, Seth pretty much proved that you can't take your BMX bike on the trail. So then he had like a backyard series, and I like watching people build stuff on YouTube, whether it be cars, houses, furniture. So he's building that backyard, that little loop he had. I'm like, this is awesome. So I started binging that, subscribed, and found a couple other channels from there.
Yeah. Right on, man. So, so what other channels did you get into after that?
I don't know. I really don't know, because it's all just a blur.
I guess I'll just back up then. I'll back up to the original question. So you were just watching the content because you were just interested in it, or you were like thinking, I want to be a mountain biker someday?
A little bit of that. But there's, man, these mountain bike YouTubers out there, they're so talented and so creative. And I've always had a little bit of a creative itch. Like when I was like 10, I had a little number plate company. I learned how to graphic design. I made number plates for BMX bikes and made jerseys. I had my own website and everything, all before high school. So I had that creative itch too. So seeing those guys with their storytelling, I'm like, man, this is awesome content. Like, man, way better than TV could ever be. Right.
Yeah.
So just seeing that, just how good they are. That's why I stuck around.
Yeah. What do you do for a living?
Okay. So I'll tell you, but this is something I've never revealed on my channel ever, and I'm saving it for your podcast.
Oh, there you go.
All right. So, hey,
wait a minute. Are you gonna beat Josh being a preacher? Because nobody knew that before it.
Oh no, I'm not a preacher. I'm a Christian guy, but I'm not a preacher. I mean, that's cool with him. I actually he kind of mentioned it, and I was like, oh wow. So that was pretty cool. So hey, the chat can take a guess real quick.
Yeah.
Go ahead, but yeah, people always wonder like, hey, how do you fund all those videos? It's like, well, I mean, I have a job, you know,
yeah, of course
and I can budget. And I mean,
because we've seen that you did do a couple of videos where you're like, okay, I hit 1,000 subscribers. This is how much money I made. And I thought that was beautiful, because so many people think that you like get monetized and all of a sudden the YouTube dump truck of money just shows up in your driveway. And you're like, okay, I've been monetized for this long, and I actually made whatever it was. I think you said like $100 or something like that.
Yeah.
But then you're like, but I spent $970 to make that. So
yeah. And man, the channel was like gaining in popularity so much lately. And I'll just tell you, like the last month it was $900 in ad revenue. The month before that, you know, they always say December you make more AdSense money. That wasn't the case for me. In November, I made like $1,400, and then last month I made $900 in revenue. So
how many views are you getting? I don't make that kind of money on YouTube, but maybe I'm doing it wrong with the ads or something. I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't mess with the ads. I just put it on there just like it is.
So you let the algorithm thingy where it's just like, hey, put the ads in there. I don't give a fuck what you do.
Full auto. They can do whatever they want, because it varies. Because if someone watched several videos before, they might not even get an ad on my video at all. So I just let them do their thing. But for the views, I don't want to come off sounding like cocky, because like, man, my monthly views aren't even one of Seth's videos, you know?
Yeah, no, I understand.
So, let's see. November really took off for me. It was like 260,000 views. That was like the most I had ever got. And then last month, I think
you're doing like a video a week.
I stopped actually. Once I stopped doing that and focused on the content and the quality of the video, I get way more views. So I do it.
So what are you looking at in a video? Like a 20,000, 50,000, something like that then, huh?
Yeah, I'm kind of averaging like 20,000 per video now, which is like because I used to be happy to get 1,000.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do every other, but one thing that I've been doing is trying to, like, I mean, you and I together have made like a ton of videos, right? So I'll change a thumbnail around, change a title around. So those
Yeah.
videos are still getting a lot of views also.
Yeah. The more that you make, the more that it's kind of exponential or whatever you want to say.
Yeah. Yep. So,
all right. So we got on here IT guy, proctologist, website designer, stay-at-home dad. I like the proctologist, Dave H. You win an award for that one.
Oh man. Well, proctologist is actually the closest guess.
Oh shit.
I am a registered nurse.
Oh, right on, dude.
Yeah.
Well,
so I've
what
been
you're doing, man. That's honestly like quite the job right now.
Yeah, I've been slaving away with COVID patients. I work in a hospital. I got trained with ICU probably 6 years ago. I've been a nurse for 11 years, and I work a kind of easier, like little sister hospital now with like not that many beds. So I can be an ICU nurse sometimes, but yeah, we've had a ton of COVID patients. It's kind of wearing me out a little bit. That's why I'm like, man, I really want this channel to take off and hopefully one day be my full-time job and support the family.
That would be rad, dude. Yeah, I think there's some people on YouTube that do YouTube just for the creative outlet, or they just want to have a good time, or they whatever their reason is. And then there's some people that, you know, get lucky or have the right content or whatever, and they just blow up and they can make a living out of it. And then there's some of us that are just like, just day after day, just chugging away and chasing that dream. So hopefully I wish the best for you, man. I definitely do. One of these days, I'm going to come out with a real banger of a video and I'm going to blow up. But until then, I'll just keep talking to other people that keep doing a better job at doing YouTube than me.
Well, I actually put a community post out. I said, hey, I'm going to be on the B1KER Bar Podcast. I said, let's make this podcast the most viewed podcast out of any of your podcasts, including Seth, which is, I was surprised, 16,000 views for Seth, which seems kind of low. So I'm hoping to blow that out of the water. Hopefully you get like 20.
Podcast though, man. And so there's two things. Like I haven't looked at the views on YouTube. What I usually look at is the podcast downloads. And I actually sent a message to Normal Mountain Biker. He's a more of an Instagram guy than a YouTube guy. And I had him on a while back, and he actually has almost as many downloads as Seth does on the podcast, which is really surprising. It blew me away because I assumed that it would be, if you were to ask me, like I'm on some, Jeopardy game show asking me about my own channel, I would have told you my second place would probably have been one of the other big YouTubers.
Yeah, BKX.
Yeah, or like Alex or some, PCO POV or one of those guys that has a couple 100,000. Like, because usually the YouTubers, they bring a better, like they bring more people to the live stream, for example. They bring more people to the show because people want to learn about them. You're kind of like involved with these people, and like what you had told me ahead of time, like, not many people know who you are by your channel because of the way that your content is, and it's the same thing with people that are watching Seth or BCPOV or whoever it is, that they just want to know, like, they also want to know who that guy is instead of just the content that he's making, so they typically bring a lot. And I was really surprised that he had that many more downloads, like, because he just makes like, like short YouTube or Instagram kind of TikTok type of funny videos. But that just goes to show, man, you make good content, you'll pull people in. So I'm surprised. Let's see. Let's see if you can knock him off the pedestal, and Seth too, huh?
Yeah, let's do it. So one of my videos, I acquired some of Seth's parts somehow. I don't know if you saw that one. Yeah. Through a friend, Cure Cycling, he had bought, Seth's bike. That was a huge deal. So there's something called, now I forgot what it's called. It's like borrowing social credibility. So, that's why I was like, oh, these are Seth's parts. So hopefully you get some of Seth's audience in and kind of say, hey, this is me. Do you like it? Like,
did it work?
Oh man, that was my most popular video for a while. And then one of my other videos just passed it recently. One of them that I restored with the thumbnail. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, that guy, I mean, he'll tell you, you just put his face or his name on something and it's going to do well.
Right.
So
My next thing, I'm trying to get Brian Kendi, BKXC. I'm trying to get some of his used parts and use that for a video. I
yeah.
love that guy, man. I saw him at Sedona and he was in his van. I couldn't flag him down fast enough, but I'm like, man, I want some of his parts.
Yeah. Honestly, he's a very approachable person. You should honestly reach out to him. I wouldn't doubt that he would do something for you. I'm
Yeah, because
100%.
it
Like
helps out
he's a
a lot.
very, very, very genuine guy. Like, most of the people that I've met on YouTube are like, we're all regular people, and it's really easy to look at somebody differently and not really know. You know what I mean? And it's easy to get like hung up on it. Like the way that you. I mean, have you had any of your followers reach out to you and be like, "Man, I saw you at here, but I just didn't want to say hi"?
Nope.
No.
I actually got recognized for the first time. No, I'm just kidding. But I had someone come up to me at the trail. I never met him before, and he was just talking. But I try to make it like my videos are just kind of group effort because I am new at mountain biking. So I kind of ask people questions like, "What do you think this is?" And a lot of the times when I'm doing a video, I'm getting ideas from what I call the Saga Squad, my audience.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be like, "Hey, you need to try this." And a lot of people have been bugging me. They said, "Hey, you got Kashima front forks. You got to get the matching Kashima in the back." So just today, I actually picked up a Kashima shock, Fox shock for the back, and I'll make a video on that. And I'll tag the person
deep in the heroin bag, dude. You're done, dude.
Oh yeah,
your low budget bike days are over, brother.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll tag that person's name, or there's like a couple people, I'll put that all in the video. So it's kind of like a group effort.
Yeah.
So if anyone sees me at Sedona or anything, like, dude, come up to me, like you helped me actually. Like we're like brothers basically. Like,
yeah.
Let's chat.
Your channel like did well. I remember I watched a couple of your videos earlier today or yesterday whenever I was setting up the thumbnails, and I was really surprised because I think you were doing a video in like August saying that you had 6,000 subscribers or something. It was something like it was good, it wasn't like a bad number. But then I was looking at where you were at currently and doing the math, and you've really blown up over the last, let's say, 6 months. Because I want to say you're close to 20K right now, right?
Yeah, it's at pretty soon it's gonna be 18,000.
Yeah.
So getting the last couple months like 2,000-3,000 subscribers a month, and oh man, I was really grateful for everything. And I don't exactly know why, and I hope I'm not one of those guys that just like gets popular and fizzles out. And really like I said earlier, like, man, Seth gets so many views, and I'm just a fraction of that. So my little sliver of success, or whatever you want to call it, we'll just call it that, a little sliver of success. But I hope I can just keep it going. And what really changed for me is when I got that Specialized I was telling you about, the 2002 Specialized. I made the video on it, but I actually at the same time figured out how to make a story with it. And I used music to kind of portray emotion and just kind of get you like suspense, and then like, oh, okay, you did it. So that was the biggest, that was the turning point for my channel, when I learned how to create a story that you can follow and that you're kind of emotionally invested in.
Whenever BKX used to always say on his videos, you just have to tell a story. And at that time I was making videos and I thought I was telling a story, but I look back on those videos now and I realized I wasn't telling a story, like not the same kind of story I'm telling now. And I used to like really question myself, like, why are my videos not doing well? And I go back and now because when you make your own content, like everything you make is like you're stoked about because you made it, and you were there and you rode those things and all these like extra pieces of information. So it's really hard to separate yourself and realize what kind of content you're making. You know what I mean? But now,
well, like for me, like Okay, so I'm making the final episode for the S Works, and I took the bike out to the trail, and I wanted to film a segment that for the very first second of the opening where I like hit the handlebars, like, damn it, this bike didn't work. So I'm making the intro and everything, and it just didn't flow right. So I just cut the whole thing out of there, and I had to load my bike up in the car. I drove all the way out there, had my friend record it, and just no emotion with it, just cut it. So I'm just kind of heartless with that. And for me, like when I'm making my YouTube videos, like I hate it. Like the whole process, I'm like, I hate it. Like I tell my wife, like, oh, this video sucks. It's gonna be my worst one. And then at the end, like with everything polished up and the music and the fast cuts, I'm like, all right, like, okay, I can enjoy it now.
I think what you're experiencing there, we all do. And I go through that same process. I think what I was getting at though was now I can look at something that's a year old and I can really see, oh, that's why people weren't watching that. Like, first of all, that thumbnail sucks. And second, dude, why did you take so long to get to the point? Or like, why didn't you cut that out? Like there's like these, like this time, you know what I mean? It's just like little shit that you learn along the way. And I think, you know, at least for me, that's why like I'll sit here and joke about my channel not being great or growing well or whatever the hell. Like at the end of the day, the reason my channel didn't do well is because I didn't make good content. That's all it really is.
Hey, that's like a Mr. Beast quote or something, I think.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah,
and you said something earlier that actually is another thing that I've watched him say on one of his interviews, where he said, don't do content every week, because if it takes you 4 weeks to make a video that makes 1 million views instead of making one every week that makes 50,000 views, like do one a month. If that's what it takes. If it takes one every 6 months to get the, you know what I mean? Like, and when he said that, it really made sense. And I tried that, but for me, I feel like in our mountain bike space, if you don't post very often, like people forget about you.
Yeah.
You feel the same?
Yep. Yeah, I know what you're talking about for sure.
Because even look at Alex lately. I feel like single track sampler. Like I feel like he, you know, he's taken quite a step back from how much he was posting before. And if you notice his new videos, he's not getting the same kind of response that he was before. I don't know.
Yeah, I think if it's like a you know, MTB Savant.
Yes, I do. He was actually the first person that wasn't my friend to comment on one of my videos. Right, actually, nice. First subscriber that wasn't my friend. I thought he was a bot.
Oh yeah. Well, his video on the Axum like actually was like the straw that broke the camel back. Like, I'm gonna do mountain biking and I'm gonna do YouTube at the same time, because he did like an upgrade on the Axum. Wait, was it? Okay, so he hasn't been posting like much over the last year, and same thing with like Trail Talk, the guy who is a marketing guy for Polygon. He kind of came back with it too, but he had a 6-month hiatus. I think that's just a little bit too long. Once a month, I think you're still relevant.
Yeah. Savant had like a baby and bought a new house and stuff like. He makes really good content though.
Oh, that guy is awesome, man. He's so artistic too, and like
I feel like when he brings something out, it doesn't even matter. His thumbnails are catchy. The way the camber of his voice and the way that he like tells his story, he just sucks you in. You're just like, all right, I'm in again. Damn it, you know.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't know there was trails like that in Oakland too. I'm kind of bummed, man. Those look awesome.
Oh yeah, we are so fortunate here in Northern California, and we have so much to ride up here. Except for where you lived.
Right. I actually call it like Central California, where I live. That's what it is.
Yeah, for sure. There's some stuff a little bit down that way. I rode down closer to Yosemite in that area. More closer to Fresno. I mean, that's a little bit further from you still, but and then also that X-Checker place is LaGrange, which is a bit, I think it's 3 hours from Sac. So if you were in Modesto, you were like, no, you're in Manteca, so it's only
they're same.
It'd still be like 2 hours away from you then. Still.
It bums me out because like there were so many great creators that were like cranking it out during the first year of COVID. Like Trail Features and Daily MTB Rider, MTV Savant, like all those guys. And They haven't really been posting that much. And I felt the burnout before too. That's why I had to take a step back and do bi-weekly posting. I think that's what you call it.
Yeah, that's good.
And that really saved me from just full blown burning out, because that's when I wasn't writing at all besides little trail footage. And sometimes I wouldn't even do trail footage. So I was just making video after video and just like, man, it was growing on me. So yeah, I wish those guys, they were so good at what they did. I wish they would come back and post semi regularly.
Well, Trail Features in the comments, man. Maybe he's listening to you. He's going to get to it.
Yeah, man, he was one of my early subscribers. Him and I think Josh, Daily MTB Writer, right? That's his channel's name.
I always screw it up too.
Yeah, they both subscribed like the same time.
Yeah, that's rad, man. Like, I honestly didn't know of your channel until the other guys in the Slack. Somebody nominated you for the Slack channel, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I watch this guy too." And I didn't even know about your channel at all. So it's so weird that somebody, like, to me, I feel like we have this pretty good community of mountain bike YouTubers, and I feel like we all know about each other or whatever. Like, I feel that way, but it's actually not true, because there will be on a regular some other channel that I bump into, and it's like, this guy has 60,000 subscribers. I've never heard of him. Never even seen his video once in my entire life. Not a thumbnail or nothing, you know? It's like, and then I click on the channel. Yeah, he's been around for like 4 years. And it's like, why is that?
It's because the YouTube algorithm sucks, man. I hate the YouTube algorithm. Let me just get off my chest. Like, I want to watch like mountain bike content and like bike building. Like, I love watching people build bikes, and like, give me a video that only has like 60 views. I don't care as long as they're building a bike. But YouTube like prioritizes stuff that like got other people to stay on the platform and continue to watch videos. So yeah, like my YouTube thing right now is like recommends a bunch of UFC stuff, which I like UFC, but that's the majority of it. Or just like woodworking stuff. It's like, I haven't been interested in woodworking in like 3 years. But it's like, oh, this video has 1 million views. It only really recommends like big view videos. It ticks me off.
Apparently Instagram's algorithm has me pinned, because if I go to my homepage, it's like girls and mountain bikes.
Oh, well, hey, at least that one's working good.
Yeah. The other day I was on Instagram, and my lady was like, why is there nothing but girls in your feed? And I was like, hey, look, there's a bike right there. I don't know. It's not like what I click on. Just keep sending it to me.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is, right? So, do you think that there's a budget bike out there that you haven't had a chance to put your hands on that you're really itching to get a hold of?
Maybe stuff by like Rocky Mountain, but I don't even know where to get those bikes, to be honest. I think they're like dealer bikes, and I don't even really like the model. I like the consumer direct model where you can order it online, you know, YT, Canyon, Polygon, Vitas. I don't know. I don't really like going into bike shops. Like, I know I'm going to get flamed for this, because everybody's like, "Oh, support your local bike shop," but the markup is there, and then you got the salesman there, and I'd rather just not do that and take a little bit of a chance and just order something online and just like, oh, there it is. Like, woo, this is nice, you know? So I don't know, like say a Trek there. My local bike shop is a Trek store. I went there the other day because I had to get some brake hoses. Luckily they had them in stock, which is, hey, the benefit of a local bike shop, but they had some like Trek Roscoes. It looked pretty nice, but it was like $1,100. At the same time, I got this new Extrada hardtail, the budget one, and it's like the same exact parts and $200 less. So I don't know, not a lot of bikes out there. And then there's like random people that are like, oh, you need to try this bike from wherever the heck. And I'm just like, man, like there's like a bike brand called like Moto Bicane or something like that. Have you ever heard of that one?
Yeah, I've heard of them. Yeah, they're on one of those direct bike websites. They're like one of the main one. I thought it was Bikes Online, that they're like one of the main brands they're on.
Oh no, it's called like bikesdirect.com, and dude, their website is so weird. It's like they learned how to make a website in 2002, and like you're an IT guy, so I don't know if you ever learned like HTML. Like they learn how to like color the font, and they're like, "Yeah, cool, man. This is a cool website. Yellow font here, green font here," and there's just like a million different style bikes, and I just get lost every time I go there. So I'm just like, "Well, click off of that."
That's funny.
Yeah,
like, let's throw in some little movie gifs. Like let's jump back to MySpace. We'll do it.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. So I'm just basically waiting for like the 2022 Vitas to come out, and then maybe try a little bit of nuke proof too. That's my next route.
I'm gonna give you a video idea, man. I think you should build like 100% Chinese freaking bike, like from the floor up, man.
I've wanted to for like a year.
The Chinese hoops, but like go like big money. You know what I mean? Like building like a fully carbon bike, but all the Chinese parts are probably going to cost you still $1,000. You know what I mean? Like get the hoops. Like I can tell you, I don't know, in my experience, because I'm a cheap ass, man. Sometimes I'll buy some stuff through the years that I just like, I'm gonna roll the dice. Looks like it's made by the same same factory or whatever. And I've had some wins. And I've had some serious fails on that too. So I think it would be really interesting, and it'd be a cool series where you could build on it like slowly, you know, like why I chose this or how I feel about that.
Yeah. I've wanted to for sure. The last time I ordered stuff off AliExpress, I ordered some group set. I haven't showed it on the channel because I'm just kind of, I don't know, the Chinese parts is kind of wearing me out. So I ordered it and it said $10 shipping. So then I order it and then it says, "Oh, you have a message from the seller." And I check, they go, "No, it's $40 shipping." I'm like, "What? The posting says $10. Like, what are you talking about?" They're like, $40 or we don't send. And I'm like, no, $10 or I report you to AliExpress. And this went on for a good couple days. And then finally I just reported them and they didn't end up sending it to me for the original shipping amount. But I'm like, this is so weird. Like these guys are like trying to scam me and stuff. I don't know, man.
Some of them on there are that way. I can tell you that I've ordered some of my merch from Alibaba. I don't know if Alibaba and AliExpress, I think they're both the same.
Yeah, same thing.
It's like they just have like a different URL for which day of the week they're trying to burn you on something.
Alibaba's for big quantities, and AliExpress is like they're just like Amazon style.
Oh, that's the one by one. Okay, yeah, okay. Thank you for clearing that up. Now that you say that, I do remember that. Yeah, because like when I bought my slap koozies that I use for frame protection and stuff like that, I bought a couple hundred of them. So that's where I went through, and even with them, like I've had a few places that I dealt with that were really good, and it was, you know, high level of service. Like, hey, here's your thing, here's the quote, and boom, it's in the mail. And then I've had another, like the company that I went through to get my headbands made. Oh my God. It was like a year of me going back and forth with them, and several times where I was like, I don't even care. They can just keep my money. I'm not even doing it anymore with them. And then like a month or two would go by, and then I'd be like, I'm going to send them an email and just see, or they bounce, like hit me back or something. And I'd be like, all right, fine, I'll bite again. And at the end of the day, I was happy with what I ended up with, but it definitely wasn't the process that I thought. Like, it was like, hey, like you said, like it said $10. For me, it was, I'm ordering this headband. Right there's the freaking picture of it. That's the one I want. And then I buy it. And then they're like, okay, so send me the specifications. I'm like, what are you talking about? I want the one that's in the picture. Yeah. They're like, yeah, so what are the sizes? What do you mean, what are the sizes? That's the one in the picture is the one that I want. You know, like,
yeah, one thing that irks me is I get a lot of people commenting, like, let's say I buy something, let's say I buy a Shimano Dior group set. People are like, that's a bunch of Chinese junk. You should have bought the Chinese version. And I'm like, well, first of all, Shimano's made in Japan or I think Malaysia. But you can get like the same thing from China. Like it looks the same kind of molds, but it's not the same. Or let's say like a Fox fork. People are like, oh, that's made in China. You should have bought the knockoff brand. And they look like the same mold. But it's like those companies found a Chinese factory and like developed a relationship and like have like trustworthy like people over there. That way that
They're
are like
doing
normal.
Q&A and or QA.
Yeah, they're
like
not
all these
scammer.
words,
Yeah, exactly. Like the Santa Cruz, they did like testing on like their carbon frame, and I remember being like, "Whoa, dude, carbon's stronger than aluminum? Like that's
Yeah.
crazy." I don't know. Did they make their stuff in overseas?
I think so. Yeah. Actually, I'm pretty sure that they do. Somebody in the comments will tell us for sure, but I'm almost 100% positive because I remember they were affected by all the supply and demand stuff with their frames not coming over. So my answer is going to be yes. Final answer is yes.
Yeah,
I can tell you. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I know a BMX company called Tangent, and I know those guys pretty well, or I used to at least. And when they were trying to make frames, dude, they were flying back and forth to Asia. I don't know where exactly, all the time, and like looking at the frame, like meeting with them face to face. It's like people that sell on AliExpress, like yeah, they get your money and sayonara, buddy. They'll never see you ever again.
Yeah, some of them, yeah, for sure. I wanted to try. Remember that bike I was telling you about earlier where I was just upgrading everything?
Yeah.
That bike it was a 26-inch wheel, but the way that it was built, you could put 27.5 on it. And that wasn't like it was just built before 27.5 was out, but the way the geometry was, you could do it, right? And I wanted to try 27.5 wheels, and I just couldn't bring myself to dropping, $500 or $600 on a good set of hubs.
Oh, wow.
But I was like, I can buy like 2 Stan's hoops they're only like $100, you know what I mean? So it was like $200 for like a good hoop. But the hubs, man, I was like, I'm going to try one of these knockoff brands. And I bought I think it was called Circus Monkey. They looked good. They had all these colors and like, yeah, they look like good hubs. I mean, they were like anodized, all these different pretty colors and stuff. I was like, I can pick the color, and then you know how the internet is. There's like a billion reviews that say it's good and a billion reviews that say it's bad. So you have zero idea of like what it actually is. And I got those hubs. I'll wrap it up. Hang on. I got those hubs. I think it was within 5 rides, the rear hub blew up.
Oh no, dang it, man.
So then I had to now buy the hub that's good.
Yeah.
And now I had to pay to have the wheel rebuilt. It was like, oh man. That was one of the fails.
So one thing I do on my YouTube channel is I'm not afraid of making like controversial statements. Like even if I'm wrong, like I can admit I'm wrong, and I love to learn from people, and I'm not really like a stubborn kind of guy. So I'll make a controversial statement. I don't think you might disagree with me. I don't care about hub engagement for mountain bikes at all. How do you? It's funny because
no doubt in my mind you're wrong.
I used to have Onyx hubs. You've heard of Onyx hubs, right?
Yeah.
Instant engagement, silent. I used to have those and stealths on my BMX bike for a decade. And then I went to mountain biking, and I just had like minimal engagement recently. And I just upgraded to like 102 points of engagement. And I just don't see a difference really. I don't feel
I can tell you right now, you told me that you're riding like Flow and XC is more your bag. That's probably why. When you're riding technical and you're in a bunch of rocks, that ratchet like movement that you need to like set your pedals right or to like be able to power over something like real quickly, it makes a huge difference, because you'll go to like do a pedal stroke and you'll have this like 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch kind of like spot until it locks.
Some of them are like a quarter revolution.
yeah, it's horrible. And like that will like, it could put you in a situation where maybe now you like high side this rock, or like it bucks you because your engagement wasn't there, or you're not able to like make a quick like little back ratchet. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And when you try to do that to kind of like get through some little rocky section, that engagement is priceless at those moments. But if you're just pedaling, it doesn't matter at all. You know?
And yeah, I kind of said that earlier, like those rocky sections, like I don't really care if I clean them or not. So but I found that if I just plan it out a little bit better and I plan out like my pedals, I can get by pretty well.
Yeah, you can get around it. I mean, I feel like it's one of those things, kind of like brakes when I said earlier. Like if you don't really know that that's what you have going, you know what I mean? Like, but you get on a hub. I mean, this is funny though, because I mean, you said you were riding them on your BMX bike, but I feel like if you ride a good hub for a while and you go back to one of those other ones, I notice it. Like when I go on a rental or a demo bike that has a low engagement hub, it'll irritate me. And I'm not really a guy that I don't notice stuff very well. You know, like that. I'm more of one of those guys that could ride every bike and be like, no, it's rad. You know, and it's not until you take it away from me, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, that wasn't good. You know, so, but I definitely would disagree with you on the hub thing.
So those are just like kind of the things I say, and a lot of people will go like kind of comment back and just say, no, you're wrong, and kind of have some dialogue, and then I get a lot of learning from that, and yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, believe me, in another 10 years you'll have all kinds of opinions. You're still new to mountain biking. So like that's what's really rad about where you're at though. Like you're in a good spot because of that. Like you can look at things in a way that I can't. I've been riding mountain bikes since the 90s. You know, there's like I was watching one of Dusty Betty's videos earlier today, and she was breaking down being a new rider to people. And I just really appreciate that because I can't do it. It's just not like in me, you know, to like break things down that way. But also, I just feel like I've been riding for so long, I completely forget that somebody could be rolling up to stopping on a bike and be nervous about, oh shit, I need to put my feet down. You know what I mean? Like I don't even, my brain doesn't even think that way. You know, I'm like, what do you mean? Like, of course, like, and in my head, wow, just smash that thing in my face. In my head, I'm just like, how would you like? I think, oh, that's just second nature. Like, if you learned how to ride bike yesterday, you would like, oh, I roll up, put my feet down, you know, and it's not that way. It's really not that way.
I've been taking like friends and even my wife, she's never mountain biked before, and taking them out there and like explaining those things, or trying to, at least it's like, it kind of gives me like a new love for it actually.
Yeah, it's fun.
I took my wife out recently because she hasn't rode much over the year because she had another baby, or we had another baby. And I was telling her, like, you got to plan your exit and always kind of be favoring like the hillside, not the exposed, you know, drop off, you know? So yeah, it's just those simple little things. And one big thing is pedals. Do you clip in?
I did for the first like 15 years of my mountain biking, and for the last couple of years, I haven't.
Really? So, you switched back to flats? Wow.
Yeah. And I'll tell you this. This really surprises me because like when I started mountain biking, people didn't really use flats. They used clips, actual like toe clips. So it was like a little cage that you slid your feet into, right? And that was just like, that's the way that they all came. And so at that point in my life, I was still in high school. I was like riding BMX. So I rode flats all the time. Knew how to jump, knew how to, you know, do all that shit. But it was just like, that's the way a mountain bike comes. And it was like, oh, that's how you mountain bike. You use these clips, right? So I had a little hiatus, and then I came back to mountain biking. And at that point it was clipless. And the guy at the bike shop was like, yeah, this is what people use now. Cause I asked him like, hey, where are the toe clips at? You know? And, and he's like, no, dude, this is how they do it now. So then I bought those, and I did that. And, I started hearing all these guys talking about flats and, you know, how they're so good now and the shoes are so good and whatever. And it just really made me curious to try. And I tried it. And my very first ride sold me on flats, and not because it was better. It sold me on flats because I was horrible at riding a bike with flats. I came up to like a little 6-inch drop off of a rock. Both my feet flew off my pedals, smashed my nuts all over the top bar of the bike. And I realized, oh my God, there's something that I've completely lost by riding clips. And that is actually what has changed me to riding back to flats. And I can't tell you how many people I've talked out of riding flats into like writing clip lists over the years, and I feel bad about it now.
Yeah. Well, I really wonder, like, the beginners and everything, if they understand like how flat pedals like work, because from what I understand, riding BMX over the years, like you take your feet and you like pivot them against each other, and you can lift up the bike that way. And because I heard people talk about
that's
a lot.
the wedge for people that are listening or whatever. What he's talking about is like your front lead foot is heel down and your back foot is toe down. I'm just explaining for people listening. So
yeah. So because I hear a lot of people like, oh, I slipped the pedals, like I need more spikes on my pedals, and I'm like, man, you really don't. Like, you just need to understand like the fundamentals.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like, but for me, like even bunny hopping, for example, over the years, I didn't realize it, but I stopped actually bunny hopping. What I was doing was compressing my suspension and jumping, like literally just jumping. You know what I mean? Like you're coming to something, push it down and just jump straight up, and your pedals will come up. And if you need to get a little more reach, you can just lift your legs up as you're doing it too, right? And when I switched back to flats, it was like, oh my god, like if you want to use like the actual terms, I think there is two different kinds of bunny hops. One of them's like the English style, and the other, that could be considered one. But at the end of the day, what was it?
A J hop too,
Yeah. Like at the end of the day, I just wasn't doing it anymore, and it really, the other thing that I noticed too was cornering. Once I went back to flats, I got so much better at cornering because I had to really think about where my feet were to like balance the bike better through the corners. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And because of that, it would be like, oh, I need to make sure that my foot is like my outside foot's down or whatever, so that I'm not where when I was clipped in, I would just be like railing it, and I'm like, it's fine, doesn't matter where my feet are, and on the flat pedal, for whatever reason, I think because I was more worried about like losing a pedal or something like that, that I really started thinking about where my feet were, and it helped my cornering a lot.
Well, I'll make another controversial statement.
Yeah,
I don't think Vans are good flat pedal shoes at all. Maybe for like a street BMX and stuff like that, but for mountain biking, like those are not good shoes for mountain biking at all, man.
No.
I remember like back in the day, like Vans were the only kind of shoes, like they were made for biking. But after you tried, after you tried, what are they called? Like 510 or 511 shoes?
510, yeah.
Those are like mountain bike specific flat pedal shoes. Dude, they are amazing with the sole being stiff in a certain area and the grip and everything. So, those Vans get chewed up from mountain biking. Just riding.
Yeah, I use a company called Ride Concepts. They're similar to 510s. And just today, for example, I was going through a rock garden. If I had regular Vans on, I smashed this rock with my front of my foot so hard. Like if I had regular shoes on, I guarantee I would have broke my toe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like guarantee it. And the way that those shoes are constructed, they're made to like bounce you off of stuff. You know what I mean? And like you said, they have the stiffness in the right spots. And yeah, it's definitely like when I was younger, like Vans was the only thing I rode BMX in.
For sure. Yeah.
Because they were cheap, but they like hugged your pedals well. Like that
for
gum,
BMX,
whatever
like
it
doing
was.
tricks and stuff, like getting that lift. Yeah, they do lift very well, but for mountain bikes,
perfect.
They're too soft for mountain bikes, I think.
Yeah, it's funny because like on a mountain bike, I stand on it. Like I actually rode about 2 weeks ago. I did about a 15-mile, 3,000-foot ride in slip-on Vans because I showed up with my Vans and forgot my shoes, and it was like, well, I just drove 40 minutes to get here, so this is happening. And oh my god, my feet were so sore at the end of it. Like at the end of the day, I mean, just pedaling, my feet were on there. When I'm like, let's just say like XC wise or climbing, it was fine. But you definitely noticed it in the more active stuff. Like your arches were more tired. You just felt like that, like it was wearing your foot out, And yeah, it's kind of crazy. I mean, I said it earlier in the podcast, but I mean, you get what you pay for, right?
Yeah, that is true. Very true.
So with that being said, like, how do you feel? I mean, you're in this cheaper bike zone. Do you feel like there's a spot where you might start like seeing yourself edge out of it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always going to be evolving and stuff. Like
Mhm.
I just, recently said no more Walmart bikes. I mean, I might like see like a new release. I want to check this out. I might still do that, but at the end of the day, I'll probably say like, yeah, it's still a piece of crap.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to explore like the $2,000 to $3,000 range at some point for sure. And that's
Mhm.
why I mentioned Nuke Proof earlier. Probably get one of those models,
Mhm.
the cheapest full suspension they make. Because
Mhm.
Nuke Proof is so popular, I don't know why. I want to find out though. So,
Yeah. Where are they from? Do you know?
Nuke Proof is England. Same with Vetus, they're England, but they're
Oh,
sold by Chain Reaction, and Chain Reaction has a bunch of different brands, so
yeah,
they're
yeah.
all consumer direct. I love that model.
Huh. Do you have like a somebody you work with over there at Chain Reaction or anything like that?
I wish. I
Yeah,
mean,
right.
I reached
What
out
do
to
we
him a
gotta
couple
do?
times, but the first time I probably had like 4,000 subscribers, and second time I don't even know.
Yeah, just I can tell you, just keep going to those events and keep talking to those people. And for a long time, I mean, I've gone to Sea Otter and Sedona Mountain Bike Festival, and um, initially I was just some fat dude showing up at 3,000 subscribers or whatever. And 4 years later or 3 years later, it's like, okay, well, I have more subscribers, and they're like, oh, this guy's actually not just like some other dude with a GoPro saying he's a YouTuber. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it'll pay off eventually. So somebody's saying
Yeah.
in comments here, actually, Bike Some, he's another YouTuber. He says Propane from Germany looks pretty sick. Have you heard of them?
Yeah, I just started seeing their brand pop up, but I think they're like super expensive though.
Oh, they
Uh,
are.
yeah, I think so. I'm not 100% sure, but the only models I've seen of there are like high pivot models.
Mhm.
So, hey, maybe I'll get a high pivot and then say I don't think it, it
Yeah,
matters.
right. It seems like that's the new 27.5. That's the new fat tire. That's the new like the new trend. I've been noticing a lot of different bikes coming out of high pivot. I think Cannondale, which isn't one of the bigger names, but I think they came out with a high pivot. And I also saw the Eminent just brought an e-bike out, and their new e-bike is high pivot too. Have you ridden one?
No. For me, the trend that I'm on right now is down country.
Uh-huh.
Just because like I my friend took me on this like enduro trail in Vegas. It was super crazy, and I decided like I don't really like enduro because I told him after that ride, like, because I walked down a lot of scary features, and I told
Mm-hmm.
him, I was like, dude, I don't like, my respect for you has gone down because you're riding this like crazy ass enduro trail and you have a family. Like, you slip up once and you're tumbling down that hill
Mm-hmm.
like 1,000 feet easily, and you're
Yeah.
like, you're screwed up. So yeah, I mean, I like double blacks a little bit, but they're not like my go-to. So enduro, I mean, maybe like you said, in like 5 years, once I'm, into it more. But yeah, I want to choose like safety over
Yeah.
anything. So
I listened to you, and it sounds like me a couple years ago. Like, honestly, like I that's why I feel strongly about what I said. I feel like it's where you're at in your skill set and where you're at in learning mountain biking. And I could be completely wrong. I mean, it could just be who you are, but I just feel like I can really relate with what you're saying, because I've made those comments myself, and I also know like how my views have changed as my skill set's gotten better. Like, there's some spots locally that I used to be like, I'll never ride this. I'll never even try to ride this. It's like just dumb. Like, there's a big fucking cliff right there. You're just gonna fall off and die. Like, what are you trying to like? Who are you trying to
hey,
impress?
that's waterfall for me. I went
Yeah,
up to waterfall and I'm like, nah, I'm good. I could walk that. Like, and I have no
yeah,
shame with it. Like
yeah. No, and I
hey,
felt that way before.
when you come down here, I want to go ride waterfall with you guys and seeing all you guys. Maybe I'll hit it. I didn't even know there was a line to the left. I was
Yeah,
like, oh, wow. Okay.
the time before I took the tumble, when I was up there, I had been writing a lot of super technical stuff, and I had wrote it, and I was like, oh yeah, I see the line now. It's no problem. Like, and every time before that I was up there, a couple of years, I was like, yeah, no, whatever. I'm not trying that. It's stupid. And then the last time that I was there, when I bailed, yeah, I got a boat full of excuses of why, but at the end of the day, I just didn't do it right, and um but that's the fun of mountain biking, like you have to push yourself a little bit out of your comfort zone. And sometimes when you fall, you actually don't get hurt the way that you think that you would. I would say probably like 90% of the time, like the thought in your head of how you're going to get injured from messing this section up is actually not what will happen. Like there is a possibility that like little like inside voice is right, and that's what happens. Like, yeah, you tumble down, you die, broke your neck, you're quadriplegic, or whatever. There is that possibility, but most of the time it's not. Like in my head, if I bailed on that waterfall back in the day, my head would have told me, you're breaking an arm, maybe you're gonna break your leg, you're gonna, you know what I mean? Like the injuries that I thought that you would sustain, like you maybe knock some of your teeth out. None of the injuries were you flip over and you cut your knee.
Yeah.
None of them were that. You know what I mean?
Knee, right? Like
Yeah.
it's some skin. Like
really, it was a flesh wound. Like it literally was a flesh wound. Like that's all it was. Yeah, it took a while to heal and it sucked and it didn't feel good, but I didn't break any bones or chip anything, or I still got on my bike and rode out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's really most of the time on that kind of stuff what happens. It's just your inside voice is like Friday fails from Pink Bike. That's all you see.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know?
for sure. Yeah, I when I was racing BMX on the national circuit, I would crash probably about once a month. That was pretty common for me, like just in like racing and stuff. So I'd always be scraped up on my arms.
Yeah.
So I don't I think crashing kind of makes you feel like alive, kind of makes you feel humble, and
Yeah.
getting a little road rash on your arm every once in a while. It's like, ooh, it stings, but I like it, like
Yeah.
I'm human,
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you ride for like a year and you haven't crashed, like for me, I go out there like, oh man, this is bound to happen sometime soon.
Yeah.
I'd rather just get out of the way with something stupid.
I'm surprised too that you're a little like I'm really curious. Like I would love to talk to you like 2 years from now and just see where you're at, because like as a BMX rider, like on those tracks, you'll hit like doubles or you'll tabletop things, like so you're probably pretty comfortable in the air,
Yeah, I love to jump.
right? So like I could just like it's hard. Maybe it's hard for you to like visualize now, but a lot of that really like rides over into mountain biking. And I think maybe as you get better, you start seeing some things that you see as like not rideable as more like, oh, well, I could like bump jump over that, or I could, and maybe you'll start to really look at things differently.
Yeah, that's another complaint I have with West Valley trails. It's like there's no berms at all.
Yeah.
And then I wish there was like, man, if I was building a trail, I would just like, okay, rock gardens, whatever exposure.
Yeah.
I would at least put one jump on every trail, like a tabletop or like a side
Yeah.
double or something. Every trail should have like one jump. There's not a
Yeah.
lot of jumps around here, but yeah, the jumps that I do know of, like I love hitting them.
Yeah. I feel like jumps aren't like, they don't have any like good progression on most trails. I feel like there's either like a jump that's really like barely a jump, or it's like a 6-foot gap. You like where's the stuff in between? There's not really, like, it'll either be like this little booter kind of rock, or this like 6-foot gap, and it really doesn't give people a good opportunity to kind of learn that in between, you know?
Yeah, man. The BC POV, he did a video where he was hitting like some jumps over like this hut. I don't know if you saw that. It was a few months ago, but
I
each
think
one
so.
kind of, it was like 22 feet and then it kept going
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
And man, I would love to be riding some of those style trails. Like, where are those around here, man?
Oh man, that stuff scares the shit out of me, man.
Yeah, I would
It's
love to
weird. I
do
used to do
that.
big jumps when I was younger, and I am just like, I lost that. I definitely lost that. Because I used to do stuff that's so much bigger than I even fathom right now, you know?
Yeah.
It's weird how I don't know, maybe it's just getting older and
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
yeah.
getting older too. Like that's another thing with BMX. One of the reasons I stepped away, there were so many reasons, but I could tell for BMX specifically, it takes so much precision, and I could tell at about 28, I started like losing the precision,
Mhm.
just making some dumb mistakes, like your front foot. You're always like, for me, it's the right side. Like I would hit a double and kind of like case a little bit, but then my
Mhm.
weight would shift to my back foot and the other side, and then I'd be going like, cockeyed and everything and have to
Yeah.
correct it. But I'm like, why did that happen? Like that's so weird. And it's just because I got a little bit older and I
Yeah, you
was
think?
losing. And that's in BMX, like the pros, they only go to about 30. It's like some guys are crazy. They go 32, 33, and then they
Yeah.
definitely like are losing it.
Yeah, yeah. There's some good BMX channels out there though too. There's some sad stories. Do you watch Scotty Kramer?
Yeah. I was in Vegas when that happened, actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
That guy was like such a phenomenal rider. I mean, he's still a great guy, and he's like obviously done an amazing job, like still keeping his channel alive and making good content and stuff. But man, that was like any of you guys that are listening and don't haven't watched his channel, you can go check it out. He's was a like a X game kind of BMX guy, and just was out filming, did something wrong, and was in the
Yeah.
hospital for months and months and months, having to learn how to walk again and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. I got a skull cut open, and
Yeah.
yeah, man, that was a crazy one. And actually another guy, they say those come in threes, and another guy is in BMX, his name is Sam Willoughby. He was like
Hmm.
one of the most dominant people of the 2010s. Just won so many races, world champion, Olympic
Hmm.
medalist, and he was just doing a warm up at the Chula Vista BMX track and was just manualing through the rhythm section, and just like freakazoid thing happened where he just like looped out, but instead of like landing on his butt, he landed directly on top of his head. So did like a half of a backflip,
Oh
landed on his
shit.
head, and yeah, paralyzed, man.
Wow.
And that
See,
happened within a month of
that's the
Scotty
stuff
Kramer.
that your inside voice tells you is going to happen. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah,
And
that's another reason I quit BMX. Like man, like I've seen so many people, they either like fizzle out from injuries, or they just leave while they're on top, or they stick around too long and then they just like are just like some nobody.
yeah.
But for me, one of the big reasons I quit is the last year I was going good. I had a factory ride and everything, and I was doing good. I aged up to the 20 to 35 expert class, and I
Hmm.
raced the biggest race of the year called Grand Nationals, and I won it. So the biggest race of the year, I won it, and I raced a couple more races after that. Won a couple more. This is over like 6 more weeks after that, and I was
Hmm.
thinking like, where do I go from here? Like I won the biggest race in the nation. What's next?
Yeah.
Yeah, getting paralyzed, no thank you, or like going to win it again. It's like I've already done that. So I just said, you know what? Like I'm done,
Yeah.
like, and I walked away from a factory ride, and the guy, it was weird when his name is Scott Angus, the guy who runs the team. He called me up because there was a race that weekend, and I had already decided I was done. He called me up. He was like, "Hey man, are you coming to this race?" And then he just like kept talking. He's like, "Oh yeah, there's another race in May." He's like, I have the budget. I want to fly you out to Tennessee. We'll pay for your whole expenses. We want you on the team sheet and everything. And I
Hmm.
told him, I was like, actually, dude, I'm done. I'm quitting racing. He's like, what? like he wasn't mad or anything. Like he fully understood, but it's like,
Yeah.
heck, I just got all the new parts for the year, all the new gear for the year, and I
Yeah.
just couldn't go anymore just for so many different reasons, and that was one of
Yeah.
them.
What do you miss?
For BMX, like nothing.
Really?
I don't really miss any of it. Like I do like training, and now I'm just training for mountain bikes, and I maybe I miss racing, but I just entered an XC race today, so I can get those things elsewhere for sure. And even like the people, it's a weird community, at least where I was at. It's like if someone started to do good, there was another person talking shit, trying to bring you down to their level. So my friend Bryce Betts calls it crabs in a barrel. So one crab is trying to leave the barrel, another one's grabbing them and bringing them down.
Right.
And that's why, like you go to the seafood market and they can have crabs in open barrel because they never get out, you know?
Yeah.
So
Those other crabs. What the hell?
yeah, crabs in a barrel, man. So I just kind of was soured on the community, and there's just so many different reasons. So yeah, I was happy to say, see you later, guys.
So will you get you have a two boys, a son and a daughter?
Yeah, I have 3 kids. I have a 12-year-old, stepdaughter, but what's the big deal?
Yeah.
And then I have a 1.5-year-old and a 6-month-old. They're born a year and 4 days apart. So I actually started the channel like a month after the first one was born.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's probably a bad decision.
I mean, it keeps me going because I'm a big motocross fan, and a guy, James Stewart, one of the biggest names in the sport ever, he stepped away from racing, and just recently he's like been saying, like, he said after he was done, he just he didn't know what to do with himself. And I was in the same way. This Evans MTB Saga is actually my second YouTube channel. If someone can find it, email me and I'll send you something. So I had a second channel. I won't say what it was. So I was doing that stuff. I made about 10 videos, and then I was like, I don't really like that niche. And then the Axum came out, and I was like, okay, I'll try that, and it stuck.
There you go. So
yeah.
You definitely wanted to get. So the reason I asked you about the kids though was, are you going to get your young ones into BMX?
All right. Here's a controversial statement again. So if you have young kids, you really, really, really should take them to the BMX track. Like I 100% will take my kids to the BMX track. Hopefully they want to be there and everything, but I'll take them there. And it teaches you bike skills. Like if you look at all the best mountain bikers out there, not even mountain bikers, like a lot of extreme sports, like dirt bikes, even like race cars, a lot of them have BMX backgrounds. Like, dude, even Jeff Gordon is a BMXer from way before.
Yeah.
And Jeremy McGrath, Eli Tomac, they all have BMX backgrounds. So Aaron Gwynn. So it's like, why is that? What do they learn so early on in BMX? And for the bike, they learn bike control, and they learn how to jump and turn, and then it becomes a natural thing for you. Like for
I think
you
it's
too,
a hand-eye coordination thing too. It's like making your body do what your brain wants it to do. And that's something that it's like learning how to walk, right? But it's like, like once you learn that, then you can use that skill a bunch of other places. You can run, you can jump, you know what I'm saying? It's the same thing with a bike.
Yeah, for sure. So I just got my son a Strider, and it's funny. He wanted to get on the bike right away after I built it on Christmas Day. He gets on it. He's like all pumped for it. He walks like 10 feet and falls over, and now he doesn't really want to touch the bike. But hopefully I'll get him there. But yeah, he took a spill already.
Yeah, you just gotta make it fun for him. You know what I mean? With my kids, that's what it was. It took time. My son actually, like, I didn't think he was ever really going to get into it, and then somewhere along the line, he just changed, and now it's like my son's, a man. He's 21 years old now, and when he comes home, he's like, "Dad, let's go mountain biking," and that's pretty rad. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. My daughter, on the other hand, like I thought that like she was always like not complaining. Like my son was always like, he was the one who was like crying, like, I don't want to do this, like my daughter, like she would just go out and ride. And I was like, oh, okay, she's going to be into it. And she can give a shit. Like she doesn't ride it at all. Every once in a while she'll do a road ride with us. But yeah, it's just funny how it is. But I think it was always about like just making it fun for them, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I owe it to them as like I don't want to say like a duty, but I think I owe it to them to at least take them to the BMX track, see if they
Yeah.
like it, and they can learn bike skills like really early on. Because man, starting mountain biking for the first time when you're in your 20s and 30s, like dude, it's tough to like learn those
Yeah.
bike control skills. I see a lot of people that get into it and then they're kind of like a passenger on their mountain bike.
Yeah.
And they want to hit jumps and everything, and they can get by, but they're just like letting the bike send them off the lip, and they're kind of just holding on, like no
Yeah.
preload, no bike control
Yeah.
in the air. And I like you, like I wish I could articulate it better.
Yeah, I can.
Didn't you interview the guy Joy of Bike?
Yeah, I did. He's really good at
Yeah.
talking about stuff too. Yeah.
Dude, yes. That guy's amazing.
Yeah.
No, he's on a channel hiatus right now. Hopefully he doesn't step away for too long.
Yeah. My daughter had my daughter's 19 and she's in college. She brought one of her friends from college home the other day. And this girl's never ridden a bike. Like she's like 19 years old.
Wow.
Never learned how to ride a bike. And it was one of those things that I was completely blown away. How do you even grow up and not ride a bike? You know, like
Yeah.
it just blows me away. But then like what you're saying, and then also knowing some people that have gotten into mountain biking as a 20, 30, 40-year-old person. And it's crazy, you know. And I think that's the thing that I have such a hard time with, because when they're that age, in my head, I'm like, dude, you should know how to pull your brakes and like how to like make the bike go around the corner and all this and that. And but they can't, because they've never done it before. And it's just I don't know. It's hard for me to wrap my head around. But on the other hand, I agree with you as far as, you know, bringing your kids into it. Like you have to learn those skills, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I started I learned how to jump when I was 5 easily. I had a 16-inch Ninja Turtle bike, and my dad built me a ramp from wood from a construction site down the road. So it was a little piece of plywood nailed to like two 2x4s. And then as I got better and I was launching it further, I was like, Dad, I want more 2x4s. So he gave me like a third, and I think the fourth 2x4 is finally when the plywood snapped in half, and then that was it for that ramp. And then he's like, all right, let's go to the BMX track. So yeah, I started BMX when I was 7. And then my parents, it was tough, like seeing the kids, like everybody has this nicest bike ever, carbon fiber. They didn't want to give me any nice parts for my BMX bike till way later. So I wasn't allowed to clip in until I was 12. So 5 years of racing flat pedals. So definitely learned those fundamentals.
I didn't even know that they raced BMX with clipped in.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like yeah. So they just made a rule recently, USA BMX, that ages 13 or 12 and under have to run flat pedals now with racing at all times. And so, dude, back in the day, you'd have 40-year-olds clipped in.
Wow.
Yes.
I didn't know that you guys would race BM. Why would you? Just for the upstroke, or?
Yeah. So you're pushing and pulling at the same time. So out of the gate, yeah, you can push with your front and pull with your back.
Yeah.
And yeah, man. And then
That's
plus
crazy. I would have never, like, honestly, like when I was, BMX was not, there was no clips whenever I was that age, you know, like, so I would have never thought that you would use clips in that kind of, but it makes sense. I mean, like once we start talking about it, and wow.
Huh. Yeah, I love clips. Like when I first put the clips on the mountain bike after like 6 months of riding flats when I first started, it was a little weird. It was definitely strange. I remember like, yeah, the turning was a little bit different, but I like the pedal efficiency for sure. And then that's another hard thing to start when you're new to that stuff. Because for me, like doing it so young, like when my foot leaves the pedal, like it leaves it in a way that would unclip, like just naturally.
Yeah.
Even if I was on flat pedals, that's how my foot operates, you know? So to learn that and like to be able to emergency unclip, like that's a big skill to learn for sure.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy. But I still use clips on my road bike and I've been thinking about doing a video of putting them back on my mountain bike and just seeing what,
Yes.
like, I'm curious to see what my own like perception of it is now that I've been
And
riding flats for so long.
you could compare your times because you're on Strava, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Oh, I'll give you a follow. I'm on Strava too, everybody. Evans MTB Saga. Check me out.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, check me out. I'm just B1KER, and I think I have the horns kind of hand afterwards because I think there was another biker or something like that. So.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I love that stuff, and that's kind of what I want to start. What I wanted to start on, and now people are like, yeah, man, do that time stuff. Like that's cool. So I started doing that again, and it's pretty cool.
Strava's fun, man. For a long time I didn't use it because I just thought like I just kind of heard all the flack that Strava got all the time, and I was always like, I don't really care about beating people that I don't know. I just really care about like beating my friends. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So
that reminds me that I now know the first mountain bike YouTube video I ever saw was what's that channel, like IFTB Films or something like that.
yeah,
You know, they made a bunch of like really cool shorts and everything. The very
yeah,
first
they're
video,
actually going to be on the podcast in a few weeks.
oh dude, they're so creative. So their
Yeah.
first video, I think they made the video where it's like trails now before Strava and after Strava. They're like roasting people and like skidding and messing everything up and like high-fiving each other, like, yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's like some, you know, babes at the trail, they're like pedaling past them really fast. But before they'd be like, hey, how's it going? You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, there was a point like the last, I don't know, 4 months, I actually just stopped recording my rides and stopped wearing the heart rate monitor, stopped doing all that stuff, and just like, because like I said, I was out of shape before. So my heart rate would always be 180 all the time. I'm like, dude, I'm sick of looking at this crap. It's like, I
Right.
feel good at 180 because, dude, I would operate at 200 on a BMX bike.
Right.
So I just set it aside and just rode. And that definitely was a lot better.
Right on, man. That. Yeah. Like I said, for a long time I didn't do it, and now I really enjoy it. And I think I really enjoy it just because I actually like it for the data aspect of seeing where I'm at against me. I mean, it's still fun to talk shit to my friends, you know, at the end of the day. But I really like seeing, oh wow, I've gotten that much faster, or I've done like, it'll be days where you're like, oh, I don't even feel like I was like doing that well today. And then you go and you look at your times at the end, you're like, holy shit, I just like dusted myself. You know what I mean? Like I didn't even feel like I did. So, and that makes you feel good. Like for example, my lady, she doesn't ride a whole lot, but she's been doing a lot. Like she's been getting a lot better over the last year. And almost every ride that we go on, she's like, oh, nope, I wasn't feeling good today. And then she'll look at it and she'll be like, oh, wow, I PR'd like 6 trails. And I'm like, see,
Oh, dang.
you're doing better than you thought, you know?
Wow.
And I think it really helps motivate her. And as it does me when those things happen too. So I don't know. I think it's worth it.
Yeah, I was riding a ton when I first started mountain biking. Like I was riding at least 2 times a week, so 4 hours a week because I count seat time, not miles. I don't know about everybody else. So I was riding a lot. So all the trails that I still ride, like, dude, all my PRs were from when I had the dang Axum, the very first bike, and I have these really nice bikes now, and I'm like, dude, what the heck? So I'm just trying to work on getting in shape right now for that race.
Yeah, well, you know, there's only one way to do it, dude. You just get out there and pedal. Honestly, like, yeah, it's easy to think you only have so much time, and then you change your schedule and things that you're doing, and apparently you have more. I mean, you have young kids though, so it's really tough. Like you're in a tough spot, man. Like that's to like balance those things, you know, being a father, being, you know, doing your job, and being a content creator, and all those things. It's a lot to juggle. So good job though, man. Freaking 20,000 subscribers. You've been doing this how long?
A year and a half.
Yeah. Fucking doing a great job, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. So
Be proud of yourself.
just letting your audience know, like when I hit 20,000 subscribers, I have a Cro-Mag I'm going to build up and give away. So I'm pretty excited about that. It cost me, I think I bought it. It was in pieces. It's not like a complete bike, but I have some other parts laying around. So it was $900, like the exact amount of revenue I made last month. So I'm excited to give back. But one weird thing I will say, like, dude, I don't know how this is going to go. I've never done like a giveaway, especially this big. I was looking up rules for a giveaway, and the IRS says a giveaway over $600, you have to give them 1099 or something like that. So you have to like, they say you have to get.
I want to stop you right now before you actually incriminate yourself, because there's a thing called a golden parachute. When you don't know, you don't know.
Oh yeah. Like, I don't know. I want to do it legit and like put the rules, like do it how I'm supposed to. So I hope people aren't weirded out by that, but I really want to like either get someone started or, probably try to.
I don't think you need to give anybody a 1099, dude.
Yeah. You don't think that'll come back to bite me or anything? I'm pretty small. So
I don't feel like the IRS is like, they're going to come back and be like, you know what, dude? You remember back in 2022 when you gave that bike away? You're going in the clink, dude.
Yeah. Well, yeah, hopefully. Yeah, true. Yeah. So, okay. You're saying don't make it such a big deal. I'm glad we talked about this then.
Yeah.
So that's
I don't think, but let me tell you, like I would say post this question in the Slack group and you'll get a lot of different opinions, because Trail Features is in the chat right now. Like, he'll tell you, I am definitely one of the people that is like way less likely to follow any rules or to be like paranoid about stuff, because there's been a bunch of conversations over the years where like, hey, do you make people sign a waiver when you go on a group ride or anything? And I'm always one of the ones like, I don't give a shit, and there's somebody else that's like, oh yeah, I do, because I don't want to lose my house. So don't just take my advice, because it may be bad advice.
Yeah, well, one of the great channels, I just see the chat right now, Mediocre Mountain Biker. It's funny, man, that guy makes good content, but he needs some more subscribers too, man. Like, that guy's been cranking out content for years. And I remember at one point he had more subscribers. He had like 995. I was like, dude, I wish I could be that high. So he said just like the MSRP is $599, so and in reality it might be, because I bought the bike for like 900 and it came with like a spank back wheel. I probably plan on selling that.
It's
and just
used, dude. It's not worth that anymore, man.
Yeah, that, and then put on my stuff from my Polygon and everything. So yeah, it probably might be $599 value. So
seems like it is, right? I'm with the Mediocre Mountain Biker, man.
Yeah,
I did a little collab with him earlier this year. I'm pretty sure that, isn't he the one that did the Meaning of Flow?
I'm not sure. He'll have to comment on that.
Sure. Well, we'll let him talk about it here. So anyways, dude, we're hitting 2 hours, man. And I really appreciate you being here. Really, really do. Like, it was really fun talking to you. Honestly, like, before we got started, I didn't really know anything about you. And I think it would be the same for, probably a bunch of people that listen to the show. So really appreciate you sitting down, taking the time to talk with us. That's rad.
Well, I just want to say thank you. Like, you're one of the pioneers that laid the groundwork for me to get started too. And man, for that mountain bike festival or whenever you said you come to Phoenix first, like, let's definitely meet up. And I don't do
hopefully
much.
You can watch me not fall down the freaking waterfall again. That would be great.
Yeah, I don't do much like riding footage, so maybe I'll be in your videos. But I would love to, just meet up and go ride and shred. Like, you can, show me how it's done, because dude, I bet you're in way better shape than me with all the riding you've been doing.
I somehow am still a mediocre as well. So yeah, the Mediocre Mountain Biker said we helped middle-aged Masher with the Flow video, but he was in the video as well, because I remember that. I'm so bad with names, and now it's like even worse. There's like a million YouTube channels for me to remember. But every time we get to the end of the show, I always like to ask people what YouTube channels they watch, whether it's like basket weaving or Mr. Beast or how to fix your refrigerator. Like, what channels do you like watching?
Well, one of them is I like watching cooking channels.
Okay.
Because years ago, like, dude, YouTube wasn't even a thing years ago. Like, I wanted to make bread. So now there's a ton of channels that they make bread and desserts and really like fine, like, craftsmanship with chefs and stuff. So I watch that. I watch gaming videos sometimes of a game called Rust. It's a first person shooter, but the people that create videos are just so good at telling stories. And lately I've been getting into watching people build cars. And man, I really feel like the mountain bike industry, or not industry, like the mountain bike niche for bike building is so behind what car building is. So I want to try to model myself off of them, and
that's cool.
dude, they're doing some amazing things and mega views, because people love watching bikes being built and things being built.
There's a satisfaction to it. It's like you start with nothing and you get to something, you know, and like you get to see it. So even people that don't bike could enjoy watching somebody build a bike. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I get comments like that too. Like, I don't even ride. Why did I click this?
Yeah, right. Yeah, totally. Right on, man. Well, like I said, dude, totally appreciate you taking the time to come out here and chat with me and all the subscribers out there. And those of you guys that have been listening, if you haven't hit the thumbs up, do that. If you haven't hit subscribe for God's sakes. It's only a button. It's right down there in the corner. Just push the button. That's all you got to do. Simple. Right? Isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, I saw on your video the other day, you said something about like, oh, I had 547,000 views or something like that. And you're like, and 47% of them weren't subscribed. If those people all subscribed, you know, I'd be at like 100,000 or 500,000 people right now.
Exactly.
Dude, why? Hey, so do me the favor, hit the subscribe button. Maybe open up the show more. If you're on YouTube, go over, check out Evan's channel. He's got good stuff over there. I would love it if you stopped by my Instagram at BikerB1, B1KER B1. Give me a follow over there. That's good too. I like all those things. All the things that you can do to follow me, that would be great, because those are the things that actually keep me motivated. It's like I like seeing that number go. It's like the little bit of dopamine that I get. I'm into it. I'm a dopamine addict, so help me out. I need a fix. If you guys don't want to do any of that, I totally get it. I really understand. Just remember one thing. It only takes a bike to be a biker. Get out and be one.